The sun drops, the under cabinet lights kick on, and suddenly those beautiful maple cabinets go full traffic cone. Warm turns into orange. Orange turns into a bag of cheese puffs with hinges. And the wall color that looked so calm on the paint chip is now fighting the wood like they owe each other money. Here's the good news, and it's genuinely great news. Maple isn't the problem. Maple is one of the most flexible woods in the entire kitchen world. The problem is what's sitting next to it, and that's fixable in 7 very specific ways. For about 15 years, the design world told everyone the same thing, which was to paint over it. Warm wood got labeled dated, and millions of kitchens got buried under builder white. Then something funny happened. All that white started reading cold, flat, and weirdly like a dental office. The pendulum swung back hard, and now warm wood is the thing people are paying extra to install. Maple, in particular, has a soft, creamy grain with subtle golden and sometimes faintly pink undertones, which means it plays nicer with color than oak ever did. The trick is respecting those undertones instead of pretending they aren't there. Starting with the heavy hitter, because contrast does more for warm wood than almost anything else. Charcoal on the lower half of the room, whether that's an island, a back wall, or a run of open shelving, gives maple something solid to lean against. Warm wood floating in a sea of pale beige looks unanchored, sort of like a golden retriever standing on a beach with no leash. Charcoal anchors it. This particular shade leans slightly warm and slightly green, which keeps it from going flat and dead the way pure black tends to under LED lighting. In morning light, it reads soft and smoky, almost like wet slate. By evening, under warm bulbs, it goes velvety and deep, and the maple starts to glow against it instead of shouting. Texture matters enormously here, so a honed soapstone counter or a matte lime wash finish keeps the whole thing from feeling like a corporate lobby. Add unlacquered brass hardware, and the room instantly gains about 40 years of imaginary history. That's the goal, honestly. A kitchen that looks like it's been quietly excellent for decades. Green and wood is not a trend. It's just how the outside world works, and the eye recognizes that instantly. Sage sits right in the sweet spot because it's muted enough to stay calm, but saturated enough to actually read as a color. What makes this specific tone work with maple is the gray sitting underneath it, quietly canceling out any tendency the wood has toward looking too yellow. On walls, sage feels like a soft exhale. On an island, it feels intentional and a little bit English countryside. Under golden hour light, sage warms up and drifts toward olive, which is honestly its best angle. In flat north-facing morning light, it cools down and goes almost gray-green, so a kitchen with limited natural light will want a slightly warmer version of this. Pair it with linen Roman shades, a bit of aged brass, and if the budget stretches, Zellige tile in a creamy white for the backsplash. The uneven, handmade glaze catches light in a way flat subway tile simply can't, and it gives the maple something equally organic to talk to. Navy and maple is the pairing that surprises people the most, mostly because navy has a reputation for being cold. This shade isn't. There's a soft slate undertone in it that keeps it from feeling nautical, and next to warm wood, it becomes something closer to midnight blue in a library. The reason it works comes down to basic color theory made simple. Blue sits opposite orange on the color wheel, and maple carries a golden orange undertone. Opposites don't clash, they amplify. The navy makes the wood look richer, and the wood keeps the navy from feeling severe. Best application is a lower run of cabinetry or a large island, because navy carries serious visual weight, meaning it feels heavier to the eye. Heavy things belong low in a room. Put navy up high on every wall and the ceiling starts pressing down on the space. Keep it grounded, add polished nickel or brushed brass, and finish with a warm white ceiling so the whole thing breathes. For anyone who wants their kitchen to feel serene rather than dramatic, this is the answer. Mushroom Greige is beige that went to design school. It has enough gray to feel modern and enough warmth to sit beside maple without turning yellow, which is the exact failure point of most beiges. The magic here is tonal layering. Maple and mushroom are close cousins on the color spectrum, so instead of contrast, the room gets depth. Everything blends into a soft, continuous envelope, and the eye relaxes. That's biophilic design in its simplest form, which just means the space mimics the calm gradients found in nature rather than the hard breaks found in a spreadsheet. Since color isn't doing the heavy lifting, texture has to. Think plaster walls, a chunky woven runner, a slubby linen curtain, and stone with actual movement in it. Under evening light, this palette turns downright cinematic, like a Nancy Meyer's kitchen where nobody ever seems to work, but everyone owns a beautiful sweater. Now for the bold one. Terracotta shares a family resemblance with maple, both living in the warm earth zone, and pairing them creates something that feels sun-baked and Mediterranean rather than matchy. The risk is obvious. Too much terracotta plus honeywood and the kitchen tips into 1997 Tuscan villa, complete with a grapevine stencil. The fix is restraint and modernity. Use terracotta as an accent, so a backsplash, a single alcove, a set of stools, or open shelving styled with clay pots. Keep the surrounding walls a chalky off-white so the color has room to breathe. Terracotta absolutely sings in warm afternoon light, deepening into something close to burnt sienna. In cool morning light, it steadies out and reads dusty. Pair it with black iron accents rather than brass, since brass plus terracotta plus maple is three warm elements competing for attention, and somebody has to play defense. The gentler cousin of navy, and a fantastic choice for smaller kitchens where deep color would eat the light. Dusty blue carries a lot of gray, so it functions almost like a neutral while still delivering that opposite the wheel contrast that makes maple look expensive. On upper cabinets or walls, this shade recedes softly and makes the ceiling feel higher. It has a quiet coastal quality without any of the seashell decor baggage. Morning light brings out its cooler side, while lamplight pulls it toward a soft French gray, meaning the room shifts personality across the day, which is exactly what a good palette should do. Finish with pale marble or quartzite, a few glass front cabinets, and simple hardware in brushed brass. Anything too shiny fights the softness. The whole effect lands somewhere between a Scandinavian cottage and a really well-behaved Wes Anderson set minus the symmetry obsession. Ending on the classic, but the correct version of it. The reason white walls fail next to maple is that most whites are cool, packed with blue or gray pigment, which makes the wood look aggressively orange by comparison. Swapping to a creamy white with a yellow base solves the problem in a single coat. This shade acts like soft candlelight painted onto drywall. It flatters the maple, brightens the room, and never goes stark. In bright southern light, it stays warm without going custard, and under evening bulbs, it turns downright golden. Since this palette is quiet, contrast has to come from elsewhere. Black window frames, a dark stone counter, deep green plants, and a woven pendant give the room structure. And that's the real lesson hiding inside the simplest option on this list. Maple cabinets don't need rescuing, they need company. Every one of these seven colors works because it either grounds the wood, cools its golden undertone, or echoes its natural warmth on purpose. The kitchens that feel truly alive are never the ones scrubbed of personality. They're the ones where warm wood, honest texture, and one confident color are allowed to sit in the same room and get along. So stop apologizing for the wood. Pick the color that flatters it and let the space finally look like somebody with taste actually lives there.